Previously on Il-Lumina-ted.
So, there was this being called the Void, and he was very traumatized for the loss of his beloved wife, the cat lady Blaze. I guess she was his wife. I don't know, it's complicated. But anyway, he kind of created this separate dimension for himself where he can contemplate the nature of the universe and talk deeply with his daughter, Lumina, who is, what was she? A bunch of light or something? And they talk about stuff. And Lumina doesn't quite understand the condition her mother is in. And I guess Void created her just a mere thought, because in his own universe he can kind of do that. So that's basically the basic gist of it.
There was an amusement park.
Oh yeah, there was some. Did they already went to the amusement park?
Yes!
Or did they just talk about it?
Yes, it's previously on Il-Lumina-ted. Of course they went to the amusement park already.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you talking and you walking, or you and your homies might be lined in chalk. I really hate to trip, but I got the lock. As they croak, I see myself in the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G that little homies wanna be like, on my knees in the night saying prayers in the streetlight. Keep spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise. Been spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise. We keep spending most our lives living in a gangster's paradise. We keep spending most our lives living in a gangster's
Anyway, thanks Matti for your illuminating recap.
It was much better than I expected.
Yes, I mean, I was expecting something much more funny, but in a way it was hilarious, and I struggled to not burst out laughing in a few parts.
I was surprised none of you did that.
Well, too bad for you, Madhog. This time you got the one thing we never get in this show. Professionalism.
Yeah!
You're not getting paid. Welcome back, everybody, to this general idea of a thing.
Story?
I wrote, I suppose, a fan fiction of some description. Il-Lumina-ted, which is part of the various Void-related spin-offs based off my original Tales fanfiction, and as Icipal put it also eloquently last time, there was a clear point in which we should have stopped, but we kept on going to see what would happen. I am paraphrasing, of course, but that's more or less where we are now. And to validate Matti's recap of the last 3 chapters we read, this story is a lot less complicated than it tried oh so hard to make you believe it would. It's insultingly simple, in fact.
Yep.
The best and most algorithm-friendly point of comparison would be WandaVision. This is basically WandaVision. Void is stuck into a world of his own making, except he knows he's in WandaVision. He knows that from the beginning, so the game is revealed early on. This is basically his own very personal and intimate philosophical struggle, if you will. I know this is not real, but it feels as if it is real. Does that make it real? Does it even matter? Oh look, I have a daughter now. She's not real, but she is real to me.
Is this story about grief?
We've had this discussion already last time.
Fantasy.
I don't remember anything from that.
You clearly remember more than we do, based on that recap. The whole point of this exercise in fruitless fuffing is that there was a skeleton of potential in here, as we established last time, in the hands of somebody who was actually capable at this whole writing business. This could have been a good story about grief and, moreover, about healing from trauma, moving on with your life. It's in the tags of this fanfiction, spiritual/family. Without any further ado, we should pick up where we left off, with chapter 4.
Titled 4.
Yes, once again, these chapters do not have titles. We've been there, we've done that.
Yep, we certainly have. But I tell you what we haven't done yet. Sundara Popeye! Me notices your bulgy.
We have done that too, actually.
No, we haven't. We did Dr. Popeye. I don't think we did Sundara Popeye. It's not like I like you or anything.
There were a lot of doctors in the house back then.
Well, we've done Tsundere and we've done Popeye, but I have to say, Tsundere Popeye is something I did not need in my life right now.
We already had Tsundere Madhog in our lives.
But Baka! Don't call me that in public! One time, a wise person asked me a question. Can a god create a weight he can't lift? I'm so smart.
My answer to that is yes, but he won't, because otherwise the universe would explode.
Okay, so this is one of those questions that really don't have answers. What are they called again? Rhetorical, yes. Rhetorical questions. But yes, that's really a good way to begin a chapter, isn't it? Wow, can a god create a weight he can't lift?
Rhetorical question can have an answer, but it is generally a question that you don't expect to be given answer for.
Yeah, it's like asking the question, who beats who between Goku and Superman?
Superman, obviously.
Rhetorical question is the kind of question that after you have answered it, the questioner says, you don't need to be a smartass.
Something you give an answer to if you are a douchebag. Basically.
You ruin the fun for everybody else.
Yes, exactly. Anyway, can a god create something that he cannot handle? Can you even lift God? Something that would escape his own control and evolve in its own directions. This sounds like every mad scientist creating every ultimate life form story ever made.
Okay, in the context of this story's universe, what god are we talking about here?
Void is the god of this world because he created it with his own dreams and emotions and feelings and the help of the MacGuffin gem that you forgot to mention in the recap.
Yes.
The Precious Stone, which is a real thing from the forgotten canon of Sonic Shuffle.
The little girl's ride.
That too! You remember that! I'm so happy. Just like a rebel son who refused to follow his father's steps. Or maybe a son who chose to follow those steps. But that's not what the father wanted all along. Or both. Or, say it with me, folks, nothing at all!
Nothing at all.
Feels like I'm writing nothing at all. Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
Stupid sexy Void.
If only that were true, then we wouldn't be here.
If a god existed, that is, and if we have been made at his own image.
Excuse me, the god is just floating right over there.
I have to say, there are so many ellipses, so many ellipses in this
Yep.
sentence.
So many
So,
ellipses,
you-
so many periods, so many Steves, so many of dots.
Looking back at the Tales saga itself, we have been suffering from great lack of ellipses.
Well, I'm glad to tell you that the great ellipsis famine has finally come to an end. Ellipsis for
Yay.
everybody now. Then can we be gods as well? Some of us may deluded themselves, Jesus Christ, the grammar, into believe that. Some of us did create things from nothing. They're called artists. I guess if you're an artist or a writer, you are a god. We are once again circling back to that old shebang about me inserting myself into my story as the god of this world, basically. Which was the whole point of Tales. Not the story or the characters, but me, the writer, writing these characters, as you recall.
You wrote Fang the Sniper.
Well, I did not create Fang the Sniper, but yes, I wrote him like that.
Yep.
Some of us did create things from nothing, ellipsis. Things that helped us, ellipsis. Things that threatened us, ellipsis. Things that marveled us and entertained us, Disney.
Ellipses.
Things that killed us, ellipsis. And things that prolonged our life. Is this going anywhere, or
I think it's going in circles.
anyone can be a god in his/her own inner worlds? And anyone can create stuff thanks to the precious gift of having a mind. Haha! Cogito ergo sum. Yet, we don't always have control over what we create. Figuratively or literally, mentally or physically speaking. Wait, are we talking about giving birth here? Because we don't have control of ourselves in the first place.
This is the way a brain of a male is made.
Ah, I see. Free will is an illusion.
It's part of our chaotic existence, it seems. Therefore, another question comes: spontaneous. Let's see how spontaneous this question is, then.
As spontaneous as the ellipses?
If a god really existed, was he just like us? What if God was one of us? Na 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 na.
And that song never answers to that question.
What if God was
A
really
woman.
dumb? What if God had mental illness? Do-do-do-do.
Maybe he
Conflicted,
wants Cheetos.
determined. Did he feel? Did he suffer? Was he mortal? Was he not divine? Then again, what's the real meaning of being a god? As in B-E-E-N as opposed to B-E-I-N-G.
Yeah.
Yes.
Does anybody ever stopped and pondered over this topic? No! Nobody has ever thought about these things ever in the history of humanity!
Well, in Mobius, I'm not sure how religious they are, but
Okay, so you have to understand that this part that we are reading right now is essentially glorified author's notes, presented as a paragraph. So that's neither here nor there, nor anywhere.
So
So-
instead of this paragraph, just imagine the author patting himself on the back. constantly.
Imagine Dragons.
so this is kind of poor version of Charlie Kaufman's adaptation.
I appreciate the comparison, Matti, but okay. Oh, anyway. Despite the fact that I tried with all my strength, I'm sorry, Icipal, not to be involved in such disfiguring reasoning. Jeez, are you sure that's the appropriate adjective here? For the sake of my mental health, and this story is too, this story has a mental health apparently, I still can't help but wonder about certain things, certain ellipses. Then again, it's what makes me human, to always question myself and my beliefs, to ask myself questions that won't find answers. and choose to believe what I want to believe. And right now, I choose to believe I am God!
Yes, Madhog, yes,
And
very
right
fine,
now,
very
I
fancy.
want to believe that sometimes even a God could use some therapy.
Furiously typing on the keyboard that day, going.
Well, I mean, God can learn a lot from their creations.
You do realize that if God goes to therapy, assuming that God exists and created the entire universe, you do realize that the moment he goes to therapy and starts making breakthroughs, he's going to realize that this universe has given him nothing but toxicity and he has to move on from it by erasing it.
Well, the texts of the Bible do say that one day God will breathe back in his own creations, so to speak, because he breathed it out.
I have to say, I do like the idea that all of our lives, our world, our entire legacy and civilization as a species, as living beings, is happening in between God inspiring and aspiring a breath. 1, 2, 3. In and
Breathe
out.
in.
Breathe in, breathe out.
Oh.
And we exist between that. Okay, so now technically the chapter begins and it's all bold and in italic, which is the font I usually use to paint the picture of a dream world. And it makes sense in retrospect that it is like that because the entire setting is a dream.
Now we also have dialogue between Void and his therapist.
Oh boy, I have no idea who's talking.
I think it's the Void's therapist. So who gets to be the therapist? Can I be the therapist? Yeah, I want to be the therapist.
Okay, well, go on, Sigmund.
So, things didn't exactly go the way you wanted, did they?
I would like to change my therapist. It's just that it's all so confusing. All these ellipses. I
see
mean,
dots everywhere.
I basically created everything here from dreams and thoughts, and I created almost all of these realms of people, including you, from my memories. But, and there's a but, it is all different from what my mind recalled. It almost seems as if, I'm sorry, I have to reboot the Void here.
If we evolved in our own way, just like any population does.
I really hate this therapist. I'm going to erase him from my memories.
That's just how they are.
No, they aren't. Anyway, next sentence is a bunch of dots. Ellipses. That's Void being speechless, I suppose. How can I convey this in an audio show? There.
You may have created us, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should be just like you wanted us to be.
Dead.
It's almost like we are trying to build out that we are actual people, so that the readers will feel remorse when we are just wiped from existence, when you stop living in your dreams. We may resemble the people you used to know in the so-called real world, but guess what? We apparently chose to be real as well. I think it's what the concept of arbitrary freedom is all about. And it seems that even a god cannot be above the chaotic mess that life is, even though he created it in the first place. If he created it, that is.
This is the most obnoxious voice I've ever heard in my life. Your high-pitched shriek was too much for Discord to handle, and apparently you died.
I did?
When you started giggling like a lunatic, Discord had the courtesy of cutting you off so that I did not have to suffer you.
What does Discord know about the talent anyway?
At this, the god and ruler of imaginary world, the conflicted being by the name of Void, smirked. And then he snaps his fingers and the therapist is poofed out of existence.
I mean, he could.
He could. I wish you would, too. You don't believe in me, do you? Why am I still reading the text? That's not dialogue. That should have been someone else's job at this juncture.
Yes, why are you doing it?
Devara, you read the text.
Okay. He asked, almost amused.
I'm almost amused.
His guest smirked too, and answered.
Well, I know for certain that the first ones of us, including myself, of course, have been created by you from your memories. Therefore, ellipsis. No, I don't believe in you. I do believe instead in chaos and life. I believe that we are part of it and so are you. That we all existed without a certain reason. We live and apparently we die, and that's just that.
I wish you said we live and learn.
No.
Void sighed quite audibly. The old question that once tormented him about the truthfulness of this place and its inhabitants had abandoned his mind a whole lot of time ago.
A whole lot of time ago, sure.
As far as time had a meaning.
I think we should have started a counter for every time this sentence popped up.
Ding 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 ding.
You know, ever since you offended Discord with your voice performance, your audio quality has gone degenerating a little bit.
Oh dear. This people, his children, one might say were definitely not an illusion. Or if they were, they just didn't care. And the confirmation of such certainty came along with the first natural-born infants.
Oh, we're getting there now. Okay.
Maybe we all are nothing more than creations of a sleeping god and its dreams.
Sure.
Those fake humans and Mobians could form families and procreate life by their own.
Oh no, I'm having Knuckles flashbacks. Oh no.
They could have descendants.
Disney's Descendants?
Dare I say, children.
No.
Crossbreeding.
That's going too far, fanfiction.
In other words, they were alive. And they were real.
Wait, so when my Sims have kids in The Sims, it proves that they are real?
No, obviously not.
But this fic says otherwise. What am I supposed to believe?
What am I fighting for?
Despite being made from dreams, despite living inside dreams, or metaphorical representations of them,
Oh my god.
they were whole persons who could think, wish, feel, and dream on their own.
Okay, and with all of that firmly established and firmly answered, can we no longer talk about this ever, please?
But of course,
Oh god, no!
with the introduction of the chaotic element that is life is, in Void's realm, the problems didn't late to arrive.
Didn't late to arrive! He's back, baby!
They were fashionably late.
The problems didn't late to arrive.
Wham!
when there are different persons with different minds, conflicts are inevitable. Different ideas, different beliefs, intolerance and racism. All the typical problems that afflicted any civilized society over the eons.
Hey guys, remember that Futurama episode where an entire world and ecosystem grows up on Bender's body as he's lost in space and then he meets God?
Yes.
It's better than this, obviously.
Duh.
You know, yes, but I'm also starting to think that this is all just the Void being very salty because he keeps failing his civilization games.
I like that.
And to Void's utter dismay, some of them, if not grand part of them, happened because of him.
No, how was I supposed to know that moving slightly to the left would caused Gandhi to drop a nuke on me? Come on!
Or better,
I should clarify, I have never played Civilization in my life.
famous bug that basically became a running gag.
Too slow tempo for my taste.
Yeah. Or better, because of the religion that some people made out of him. The Voidism? The first Pope called it. And of course, other cults and creeds did come out in response of it. Imaginary world was now full of Satanists, atheists, Orthodox Voidists, Baalists, and the list goes on and on.
Devar, I have to say, I had lost my place for a split second, so when I heard you say the Voidism, I thought you were making a joke, but it's actually written here!
No.
Oh my god, no, why, no!
You know, Void, I think the problem is that was the point that you decided to introduce yourself to your creations as God. Maybe you should have skipped that part.
Can we stop and talk about the existence of Baalists for the Void religion? That just blows my mind. I'm sorry, but the idea of being a follower of Baal is that you are a follower of Baal, not a guy named Void, right?
Because you were going through apparently some sort of Wikipedia page for different religions and decided then just cherry-picked. Or maybe you were throwing darts at the screen.
You're giving me too much credit. I was just typing.
It was a thing that deeply embarrassed and pained him.
These mortals are so stupid.
The fact that his children would fight each other for the dumbest among reasons.
Then just step in like a good parent and separate them. You go into the corner, you go into the other corner and think about what you've done.
But he couldn't help it, could he? He was the creator, after all. He created them, and that's it.
No! You have a responsibility! Here. God damn you, I was about to say.
Yeah, if you don't do anything for your subjects, they lose hope. Just like it was said in that Futurama episode.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing, Void. You aren't just some faceless god whose existence is ambiguous. You are literally living amongst your children, which means that you have a responsibility as a parent to guide and support them. You're not doing a great job at it. It's almost as if all of your existing baggage doesn't really make you into a efficient father figure, I would say.
When we look back at the Void's father figures, he hated and tried to kill multiple times his actual father, and the one he considered to be his father used him and betrayed him.
So
never actually cared about him.
Okay, so a slight correction. Tails isn't literally his father, not biologically. He's the guy who literally planted a seed. Which I suppose that, metaphorically speaking, that means he has impregnated the land.
Yeah, yes, we made this joke
Tails was-
before.
Oh yeah, Tails was just a donor.
Yes,
I
we made
guess
it. Yes. Yeah, guys, we made this joke.
Wait,
Yeah.
but he did plant the seed, but he didn't make the seed.
It didn't come on the seed, if that is what you're asking.
No, guys, come on. Guys, we made this joke already.
Oh gosh. Okay, where are we now?
Life is chaos, isn't it?
Void's therapist suddenly stated.
You might say that. Oh well, at least you came out half decent. Except for your vocal strings, which now must be removed.
Void began.
But not like you wanted me to be, right?
Oh, you can say that again, son! You are a disappointment.
The other concluded for him. Void frowned. A familiar feeling of guilt made its way inside his namesake emptiness.
Well, no. You are very different from the memory I had of capital H him. Oh, it is I, Powerpuff Girls!
Oh my god, the voice. Oh my god, it's Icy Pow's voice. He raised his head and fixed his gaze over his guest.
But that doesn't mean I'm not proud of you. Because I am. Really. Puts his paw on the shoulder. I'm so proud of you. Totally.
I'd like to roll an insight check.
You rolled a 1.
I like to think Void goes like, I'm so proud of your existence. I'm going to put you on the fridge.
Gosh.
And he literally staples the therapist onto the fridge.
I'm proud of all of you, actually.
He declared.
You did evolve into becoming your own person. And not just someone else's ripoff. Funny choice of word there.
Looks at the author.
And to
Bootleg.
tell the truth, I am ashamed. Oh, I get it now. This is about writing fanfiction. This is a fanfiction about writing fanfiction. Writing about characters that you are creating, but you're not actually creating them because they come from memory, which means that they already existed. And the version of them you write in the story will never live up to the version of them that exists in your mind. This is a story about the fanfiction writing process, which, if you pair it with its spiritual companion piece in the Void trilogy, which was about dealing with writer's block, it paints quite a picture, doesn't it? It's not a good picture, but there, it's painted now. It is all
I
clear
can't
now.
decide if this genius or not.
It is not. It is very pretentious and self-absorbed. But now that we have finally cracked the code and we realized what this is actually all about,
We can go home?
no, but we can be less confused about it. Anyway, and to tell the truth, I'm ashamed with myself for giving you this aspect. Wait,
Aspect would that be?
what have you done? I haven't been a good father.
His interlocutor.
I love that this word is such a landmine for you.
Okay, I'm going to guess that Void made his therapist look like Tails.
Oh, you think?
I was thinking that he made him look like Ixis-Nogus.
No, that would be terrible and have so many terrible implications.
And here I thought it was Mr. Pickles.
Mr. Pickles! Let's see. Actually, let's see. Let's see what happens.
Let me just continue, yeah. His interlocutor just smiled at his father and creator. He then put a hand on his shoulder. Oh, there's the hand on the shoulder you saw
Yep.
coming.
Hey! Starts flirting.
I'm perfectly fine with the appearances you gave me, Void.
What appearances? He gave you more than one?
He said.
You can call me Manyface.
Oh, yes? This sounds oddly confrontational, but okay. Then why you colored your bangs in black and started wearing that red jacket of yours?
This
I'm
sounds
sorry.
like a specific reference to.
I'm sorry, is the therapist actually a teenager who's going through a rebellious phase?
Oh my god, now I just have an image of Mr. Pickles wearing the said jacket and with...
It's
Dyed
obviously
black.
not Mr. Pickles. It's obviously not Professor Pickles.
I know, but still, I just having that image now. It's funny to me.
It's obviously Shadow the Hedgehog, the ultimate life form.
The therapist blushed a little at this.
Because I like myself better?
He replied, trying not to sound shy. This time, it was Void that put his own huge three-fingered hand on the shoulder of his son. Is this a an opening for wanna get stuck in a wall?
Hey.
Just a constant back and forth. Hey.
Hey.
Okay. As I said, I'm proud of you, Ellipsis. Of your independence and in what you've accomplished. You became the worst therapist ever.
And pride was visibly shown on the improvised Cedrian's god's face.
What do you mean improvised face? Speaking of which, how is your family doing? Do I have to poof them out of existence too?
Also, how's your sex life?
I did not hit her, I did not.
The other thought at this for a minute, or so, then answered,
Pretty well, considering that my son melted his brain with those chaos-bound online RPG games, and my wife has become a Scientologist.
What? I'm sorry, what? Excuse me? What is happening now?
Excuse me, I need to reboot my brain.
So hold on.
Mobius has Scientologists?
No, not even Mobius. This dream version of Mobius that was vomited out of Void's brain apparently has online RPGs and Scientology for some ungodly reason.
How does Void know about Scientology?
How does Madhog know about Scientology?
How's your real daughter doing?
he asked back.
Oh, she is just fine. Considering everything, you know, her mother and all.
Void shyly answered.
I see. Well, I would like to exploit the argument a little longer, but I'm afraid our time just ran out.
Perhaps the word you meant to use was explore, not exploit.
I like how he says, oh, we've run out of time now, and it's like, you're telling God you're out of time.
Hey, he has a busy schedule.
We'll have to wait the next appointment for that. Here's my honorarium, by the way.
God's personal therapist stated, while showing his patient a fine piece of paper. Is it blank?
But
That's one fine piece of paper.
But it's over 9,000!
Void cried.
Oh, yes,
I'm sorry,
I know.
Madhog. I need to go and put you out of your misery.
That's a bit harsh, don't you think? I mean, it's been, 10, 15 years more? At this point, it should be considered vintage.
Even you don't believe that.
I
Wait,
know.
carry on reading. There's something that's really boggling my mind here.
So what? You are the creator, right? You can literally sweat out money from your body if you want.
Why do you have currency involved in all this imaginary realm?
Yes, how does the economy work in your imaginary world? Come to think of it, this was an entire point of contention last time. If you can just will things into existence and everybody can do that apparently, not just Void, then what even is the point of having a honorarium for your therapy sessions?
Don't think about it.
Oh no, carry on. It gets even weirder.
I suppose they need something that they can feel accomplished of their work.
Well, in that case, he already received the payment when Void put his hand on his shoulder. Hey, what's more accomplished than that?
Yeah, let's carry on because it's gonna get even weirder and stupider.
Yes, I can sense it. No, I can't.
He sadly remarked.
How? Wait, what? How? Why? No. Wait, stop the ride! Stop the ride right now! What is...
Stop the process!
What do you mean you can't create it? You are God!
I know, what's going on here? If he's gonna create, will things to existence, then why can't he will money into existence?
And why do you need money? Oh my gosh.
Oh my
Too
God,
many questions! The trouble with high concept, abstract scenarios such as this is that the moment you ground them is the moment in which you start asking questions you didn't need to ask, such as, what is the economy in this world that's clearly real, except it isn't, except it is?
Well, I, for one, do enjoy the mental gymnastics of trying to find answers to these questions.
And then William Shatner comes up and says, what does God need with money?
It was a spaceship, but
Yeah,
yes,
I know,
get
but
your
it's
point.
money in this case.
Well, it clearly needs money to buy a spaceship. Duh.
Well, the point of that question was to poke hole in the so-called God's logic to prove that he wasn't actually a god.
Yeah, I
Just
know
pretend.
the movie, but...
Okay, we don't need to analyze the bar's silly jokes. Moving on. And his answer is...
Oh well, that's your problem, dude. Now, if you will excuse me, I have to play with my band in the nearby nightclub in about half an hour.
He puts on his sunglasses, gets his sax. See you, Daddy-o. You're a singer too?
Me? No, I'm the guitarist. Anti-Knuckles is the bassist and Anti-Sonic sings. Would you believe that?
No, in fact, I am more confused than ever. What are you talking about? Anti-Knuckles? Anti-Sonic? Are we bringing more elements from the Archie comics into this mess now?
Void
The answer is yes.
Void nodded.
And tell me, how's the band called? Oh, you will never believe what's it called.
Anti-Freedom Fighters!
Boo. I should have imagined that.
But you did!
Yes,
It should have been Anti-Sonic Heroes.
No, honestly, it should have been Sonic Underground.
Sonic Underground.
Don't you-
Sonic Underground.
Sonic Underground.
Don't you mean Anti-Sonic Underground?
Don't you mean a boot to the head? I should have imagined that. As the bar pointed out, he did. In any case, good luck with tonight. Is this the first draft of the Soul script?
Thanks. See you next week. Same time, same day, same channel. As far as time has any meaning here, of course. Toodles!
Yes, I'll see you then, Miles.
Ha! I called it.
Don't you mean Anti-Miles?
If anything, it's anti-tails.
Anyway, said the very proud dad to his first intended living creation ever, which aspect was based on Void's memory of his own father. Which would lead us to yet another gruesome paradox that I would gladly ignore as far as I can.
Well, I don't want to ignore it. Let's talk about this.
So your first act as a god was to recreate the image of your own father as your personal therapist.
But you see, it's even worse than that. So, the person he considered to be his father, he recreated it as his own son, and he made that son, which is based off his father, his own therapist. Figure that one out, Freud!
So, Void, did you have any sexual thoughts about your mother?
Oh my gosh, this is Sigmund Freud now! And I have to say, it was mentioned earlier on in the paragraph that apparently an entire civilization has developed with wars, religion, racism, all things that would take centuries, if not thousands of years to develop in any given direction. And this version of Tales was the first creation that he has ever made intentionally. I'm sorry, how old is he? How old is anybody here?
Well, if time has a meaning,
As far as we know, which is nothing.
the answer is maybe.
What was the question then?
Exactly.
I think we are trapped into a bad version of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy here.
Yeah, we are. Let's continue.
All right. So
Paragraph break.
there appears to be a change in paragraph here. So, Matti, you're up.
Okay.
So, perhaps a god can't lift the weight he created in the first place, but maybe, just maybe, he can live with that.
He can live with the weight of his own responsibilities. Is that what you're trying to convey here?
No, he's trying to say that he can live and learn.
Hanging on the edge of tomorrow, maybe?
He can live in the chaos he may or may not has created out of raw thoughts. Imaginary world has deeply changed in just 10 short years, as far as you know the drill.
Well, Madhog, there's your timeline.
Other thoughts and ideas may have been the matter from which this realm came from. But as for now, what moves this world are its own people's thoughts and ideas, which could be a very positive thing. But since life is chaotic and people is forced to live in it, sorry about my grammar, things would always be complicated.
Don't apologize for Madhog.
I'm so high right now. Imaginary world was now a full-grown modern society. Therefore, it had its problems.
Oh
In
no.
Oh no.
This again! You've already established that! Come on!
Intolerance, racism, acts of violence and murders without apparent reasons. In other words, the way things normally look everywhere and, ironically enough, one of the negative results of free will. Let me put my Linkin Park. Perhaps I'm just generalizing here. Then again, I don't care. What I do care is that it's that this world is not anymore under anyone's control, except the endless possibilities of life, which happen to be the number one rule of the Chaos Believers, who, unfortunately, were just another group who want to overcome all the others' beliefs. So, it contradicted itself. Then again, who cares?
Was it an accident that you chose that perfectly fitting voice for this paragraph, or did you read it beforehand?
I chose some kind of a stoner voice.
Yes,
It fitted perfectly.
Matti, you are one senseless murder away from channeling the Johnny the Homicidal Maniac energy into this reading.
I can't help but imagine if this stoner voice was used for the Twilight Zone for some reason.
Dudes, we're like totally about to enter a dimension of thought, a dimension of sound, a dimension of touch that's totally radical, dudes.
And who cares, man?
That blows my mind, dudes.
Let me see, who is talking here? Because we have a lot of dialogue next, and it doesn't state who is talking to who.
Since we don't know what this next batch of dialogues is all about, who's speaking to whom and vice versa, let's just make up some random voices. Apparently there is a bit of a plot now, all of a sudden, in that there is an evil cult, which is to say just a regular religious institution. There is no factual difference between those, really, if you get down to it. Called the Chaos Believers, and they are converting people, apparently, and that's a plot line? Question mark? This feels very Game of Thrones all of a sudden. I do hope they all get inside a building and then they blow up all at once.
We'll see.
Well, they have to do incest first.
Yeah, let's just get going with this. Who was...
Well, that's very chaotic, don't you know? Who really cares, dude?
Excuse me?
All that Voidist crap about, the on the sixth day Void created the Antimobian thing. I mean, come on, that's not true.
Considering that Anti-Sonic and Anti-Knuckles exist.
Antimobian too. I guess this world is Antimobian now? Antimobius, I should say?
Well, scientifically speaking, I would agree with you. But rationally is not. Everything in our chaotic world.
Hold on to your fancy pants. You're a chaos believer?
Hell no. Those idiots are just a bunch of hypocrites. Then again, I could be mistaken. Then again, who am I to tell what is true and what is not? The fact is, we do not know the truth, and we should just live with that and be really free. Are you following me?
This really sounds like the ramblings of a madman under crack. Not very much.
Perfect. You just accepted the fact that you don't understand something.
I won the debate by confusing you. Hey, stop that.
And now you're opposing my words. And that's just fine. You have the right to do it. Although you shouldn't force other people into believing what you believe if they don't want to.
Have you ever wanted to punch a guy so hard?
I mean, Kevin Sorbo and Douglas Tenaple.
That was a rhetorical question, but thank you for providing actual answers, douche nozzle. I think I got a headache. Mind if I join you later?
Give me some of that grass, man.
Fantastic. I'll be brawling some street thugs for a while if you need me.
I'm sorry, this is Streets of Rage now. Why would you do that?
Why do I need a reason for doing whatever I feel to do? That's freedom, my friend.
Oh, wait, I think I just realized that this is Fang the Sniper, isn't it? This sounds like Fang the Sniper to me, the way I wrote him.
With that said, the young-looking creature who vaguely resembled a weasel departed from her friend and fellow school student in search of some random thug to beat up, just for the heck of it.
Hold on a second. Young Weasel, school student? Is this an high school AU?
Oh, we finally found the Metroid High School?
No, this is hell now. This is my hell.
That's what I said. Did we find the Metroid High School? I was a unique creature who wore a curious canvas hat, an old-fashioned belt and boots. Oh no!
Boots! So I see the problem here. I wrote BOOTHS as opposed to BOOTS. That H is not supposed to be there, so now, canonically, he's wearing multiple phone booths on him.
She does have a big boots to fill. Despite the look, she acted like some kind of master of life, and her speech was anything but Southern. What the fuck does that have to do with anything?
Because of the cowboy look. You just read this sentence, remember?
But I was more confused, what does her not having Southern accent have to do with being some kind of master of life?
Because she dresses like a cowboy, you would expect her to sound like a stereotypical cowboy. But
What
she
does
doesn't.
being master of life have to do with it?
You are focusing on the wrong end of the sentence, you know.
Let's
I
just
think this is
continue.
the right end of the sentence, which is near the end of the sentence.
Let's just continue.
She had a deep purple fur, white on her chest and belly. It was thick enough to cover her private zones.
Why do you need to point that out? They are cartoon animals. You don't need to point out that they are naked all the time. Damn you.
We
I
already
mean-
established in the Tales saga itself that teenage Madhog was very horny.
I mean, have you seen Roots the Bat?
Boing boing.
Rouge the Bat is a later design. Don't think too much about it. But yes, in this chat we love and support Rouge the Bat.
But her feminine form was still undeniable.
Okay, so she has thick enough fur to cover her private zones, but her feminine form was still undeniable. You are painting quite a picture in my mind.
Yes, Madhog yourself is painting the picture.
Mhm.
I don't remember this at all. I don't know if I pointed this out earlier, but that's the situation.
Wolf ears lay straight under her hat. Her eyes were pitch black. She hadn't any parents, and she was definitely not born from Void's own memories like others did. She came out from pure nothingness.
Is there a point
Wait.
to all of this, or are you just introducing your cool new OC for the sake of introducing your cool new OC?
If she was born from pure nothingness instead of being procreated, that means that she would have come
Wait,
from Void's own mind.
Icipal, please do not ever use the word procreated ever again in my presence.
I promise nothing.
Uh,
Oh, did I forget to mention that she had a single huge fang that came out from her mouth? Yes, you were right, Madhog. We did get the Fang the Sniper here.
Yeah,
Yes.
the bent Fang the Sniper.
we have the gender bent Fang the Sniper from the high school alternate universe, which is everything I hate about fanfictions. Just rolled into one trope.
Well, you have to blame for this.
Society, of course.
We live in a society.
That's
There are
given.
people in the world.
Someone's breathe.
Breathe.
Eos has done it again, isn't it? With the usual calm and spontaneous charm, she would bring with herself wherever she would go the mysterious enigma known as Nick the Weasel.
Nick the
Exactly.
Weasel? I'm sorry, Nick the Weasel sounds like an oddly specific name to the point that I have to wonder if this character doesn't already exist? Hey, Devar,
What?
Google me this character.
Are you sure you want that to be showing up in Devar's search history?
Were you, Method, actually subscribed to Archie Comics, Sonic
No.
Comics? Okay.
No, I only had peripheral knowledge of that. Anyway,
Okay, so this is a loose adaptation.
it's not even-
Nicolette The weasel.
I knew it! I did not invent her. She was real, damn it! She was real! There is a female version of Fang. Officially. This is not my OC. I am saved.
No.
Yes! Yes, it's real.
It's too late to save you, Madhog.
Oh, sure, with that attitude.
Disappeared into the dark of the alleys. The dark she came from. Her best friend and recent interlocutor stood still on her spot for a while, watching the road Nick just vanished in, and sighed. She would never understand her, but somehow she was fine with that. And that, apparently, was a good thing.
So, how's your sex life? So, how's your day at school, Lumina?
The girl in question suddenly turned her head to fix her young, full-of-life gaze into her father's lifeless one.
Not bad.
She said,
I wish I could avoid the religion lesson, though.
I think it's clear by this point that Lumina has aged a bit since last time at this stage.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, she's apparently now in high school with Nick the
Oh, yeah.
Weasel.
We did not establish if it's high school or middle school or any school whatsoever, aside that it is a kind of school.
Well,
Yes,
at least this does the passage of time better than my comics.
That's not high praise, but I'll take it.
Oh,
Boy just sweetly smiled at her, his eyes, although being empty, full of fatherly love.
You cannot have your cake and eat it too, writer.
I mean, there is so much more room for the fatherly love because there are so much lack of life in there.
Yes, that's what I mean. Either it's lifeless or it's full of love. It can't be both.
So that
Well, I
means
mean,
that
the eyes may be empty, but they're not empty of meaning.
they are only empty of life. So Void is dead.
This man is dead.
Hooray!
It lives no more.
Lumina Flowlight has grown a lot over the past decade. She was little, no more. Currently, she was a fine young lady, a loving and caring person, just like Cosmo used to be. Yet, determined and sometimes even stubborn. Just like her mother used to be.
Void, do you want to bang your own daughter?
I wasn't going to say that.
Well,
think it's
I did.
obvious.
You're welcome.
I think it's obvious.
Somebody had to say it. It might as well be me. I'm already compromised.
In other words, she was her own person, not anybody's ripoff.
Again,
See?
curious
What
choice of word.
See, isn't my OC amazing?
Look at my OC. My OC is amazing. Giving
Do
a
not
lick.
steal.
Give it a lick. It tastes like raisin.
Physically speaking, she hadn't changed very much. Her hair and attire were still pink and lavender, and headbuds were still closed. Her face was sweet as ever.
Her face was sweet as ever, huh?
Her body, on the other hand, sustained the major changes.
Are you going to describe in minutia what she looks like physically at age 17, Void? Or whomever is narrating.
Much worse.
She was 15 by now. Therefore, she matured a lot.
Oh god.
She was almost as tall as Void used to be. Wait, I thought you said she hadn't changed very much.
She was smaller.
Toro, choose! You must make a choice!
I guess 4 feet and a half is taller than 4 feet.
Her physique was well proportioned and slender, and
God damn it!
for the sake of censorship, I'll just leave you imagine the rest.
That's
No.
worse! That's even worse! That's even worse!
Okay, I'm convinced that this fic made someone a furry.
So,
I almost forgot. She now had a pair of brand new fairy-like wings on her back. The cause of such unexpected gift slipped even her dad's mind.
oh, I know, it's Muberty. Clearly, no one here has ever watched The Star versus the Forces of Evil.
No.
No.
Okay.
Not
Well,
really.
you would have gotten it, and you would have found it funny if you had. Anyway,
No.
moving on.
Not that he cared about it, since they happened to be very useful. What bothered the male Syrian was another thing, though. His current appearance hadn't changed at all. Oh no. Oh no. We are going into bad, questionable places. His green hair was still leaf-like and pointed. His face was young as ever. Even his height was the same as 15 years ago.
Okay.
You know, Void.
Okay. Okay.
Void, have you considered maybe imagining yourself aging? Maybe that's the problem.
Hold on. If you have the power to remain young forever, wouldn't you want to remain young forever?
I mean, yes, I guess there would be a difference. Do I want to be 15 forever, or do I want to be 25 forever?
Yes.
And I guess it would be better if Void aged himself so it wouldn't look so awkward when he's with his daughter.
You know, that's another bit of worrisome detail I was going to bring up. I'm sure we all are aware of the trope of, hey, look at that little girl that looks like a little girl, but oh wait, no, she's not actually a little girl, she's 10,000 years old, so it's okay to lust over her. Of course, I'm being sarcastic, and that is a terrible, terrible thing.
Yeah. In the interview with the vampire, it looks on how much of a hell it is for an 100 years old vampire.
That's where it all started, didn't it? That's that film's fault. It makes too much sense. There was that little girl that was turned into a vampire, and she remained a child forever until she died.
The end.
Well, the end for her, that's for sure.
Put it bluntly, Void had another reason to despise himself, since he became the guardian of the precious stone and this world's ruler and god. Although he did not refer to himself as a god, he didn't age a single day, while all the others did, while his own daughter did. Was this the price of his current role? Was this another cruel joke the author wanted to throw at him just for making a half-decent story? Was this a further torture he would be forced to endure? Author says yes. Was he just meant to suffer and to make others suffer? The people he loved. The chart says yes. Another reason would have been, there he was, feeling an aching pain of yet another gruesome knowledge on his chest, and resisting the urge of fainting just for not having his daughter worried to death.
So,
then,
I'm sorry, does God have panic attacks?
Anxiety?
Anxiety?
why not?
I mean, Void used to be mortal.
Yes.
Void is, as we said many, many times, a person with a lot of emotional and psychological baggage.
Exactly, that's why he created his own therapist.
I'm not sure that's the healthiest coping mechanism, but what do I know?
Who said anything about health?
Who said anything about this making sense?
Let's just continue, guys.
You tried. And then there still was that other knowledge, which happened to be the main reason of why he didn't let Lumina to come anywhere near the precious stone again.
Yeah, they had a talk with the precious stone, and as it turns out, it didn't like to be ridden by a child. So, no more gaming time with the precious stone.
He put a very big deal of an effort on the smile that was actually crossing his lips. Smile! All for her well-being, the only light left to illuminate his darkened soul.
Boo!
He's Lumina.
Come to think of it, there are a lot of women in Void's life that only exist to prop up his own character arc, whatever it may be.
Women illuminate my dark soul with light.
Yes, pretty much. It is all about him. Quite literally, figuratively, and everything in between.
Oh, boo-hoo, it's not the world revolves around you. Wait.
Daddy, may I ask you something?
Oh god, I'm so happy you're not young anymore. You were so annoying.
The solar young plant girl suddenly said,
What is it, Han?
What is it, hun?
I mean, I suppose that seems inappropriate for a father to call his child Han. That's traditionally reserved for your spouse. I see the problem now. Han in this context is an abbreviation for honey.
Yeah, I know.
Well, in case you didn't know, now you know. You already know. So
now we can all imagine Lumina as an actual Han about to conquer China.
Meanwhile, I'm just thinking of Void basically dressed like one of those diner ladies going like, "What is it, hen?" Just getting some burgers grilling.
Well, and now thanks to Icipal, what I am thinking right now is, let's get down to business to defeat the Huns.
Did they send me daughters?
Yes, actually, they did.
For sons.
Yes, that's actually what happened.
But you can't before we're through.
Okay.
Mr. Ah, make a man out of you. We could literally sing the entire song right now.
I mean, we could, but
Be a man, you must be swift as the coursing river. Be a man.
You do realize I meant for that to basically say, may we continue with the story?
Be a man.
The mouse is sending the lawyers. Hide.
All right, fair enough.
He replied, still disguising his pain.
Yes, he replied with the entire song.
Why did you let these people to believe such fake things over yourself?
Hold on, is she wearing a bracer?
Genuine and rightful question. Void gently caressed her cheek and simply answered,
Be a man. Because it is their birthright? What?
What he's trying to say is that since they are alive and have free will, they are allowed to think whatever they want.
I know, but still, it's, again, a weird way of phrasing this.
Most certainly, my good sir. And with that said, he hugged her and she kissed him on his own cheek. And then it started raining. For whatever reason, I don't know or care. Fuck this shit!
I wish the last part that you added was part of the text.
Yes, I wish it was too, actually.
Oh.
Unfortunately, we live in an imperfect world.
So, let's all be a man and jump into the next chapter, I suppose.
Be a man.
I mean, it's shorter compared to the last chapter of this, which is longer.
Good. Chapter 5, titled 5. Happy? Are you happy?
So
No.
that means
Acknowledge that.
The chapter is not titled 5, it's titled 5th.
That's not how you
That's not
spell.
how it works.
That's not how you spell fifth, and I hate you. Anyway, one question.
No
Only
more
one?
questions.
Only one? No
No
comment.
more-
He's going to leave the paparazzi behind, get into the limo, drive away. One question. What is the only one thing that can keep people united and strong?
Racism.
Sure. And the answer, a common enemy.
Racism.
You know, I used to like Watchmen, but after seeing what the world became when an actual common enemy emerged in the pandemic, no, a common enemy, the existence of a common enemy will not, in fact, unite us. That's a myth.
But the problem was that that common enemy wasn't big enough to that you could shoot it.
Listen, I bet you, everything you have. That if
Why would you get my
tomorrow,
things?
tomorrow morning, a random alien invasion happens, simultaneous to the zombie apocalypse, I guarantee you that some douchebag wearing a MAGA hat and a QAnon t-shirt and, I don't know, Viking paraphernalia will come out and say, hey, the alien invasion / zombie apocalypse, it's a liberal hoax, and I will prove it by jumping right into the cross line of fire between the shooting aliens and the munching zombies. This will totally own the libs.
I mean, obviously, those kind of people are called distractions and bait and acceptable targets.
You know what? I like that idea. Let's bring them all together into one place, preferably a Trump rally, and then let's kill them all. Anyway, this is parody. This is parody.
This is a parody of fan-based parody.
In Team Yume, we respect human life.
The tangible, physical presence of an opponent who would menace people's own freedom was the key to resolve, or better, to ignore, one society's problems. Just how the far right likes to employ the immigration card to distract you from the real enemy, which is them.
Yes.
Ancient Rome taught people well.
It sounds hypocrite, isn't it? It sounds like the type of lies certain politicians would tell in order to achieve more control over the population they rule. On other news, I don't like that Bush, you know. In this case, however, the menace happened to be real. As far as whatever... ... You know the drill by this point. Just like Void's original dimension, Imaginary World was now under attack of a new enemy, all of a sudden, who wanted to reduce everyone, anti-Mobian or anti-human alike, into slaves for his would-be empire. Let me guess. It's going to be Nega Eggman, isn't it?
Probably is.
Anti-Nega Eggman, so... But then there's two negatives, so he would become the plus Eggman.
I despise you. In other words, someone was threatening the very freedom they were living in. The same freedom that caused all those problems in the first place. Then again, a freedom they would fight for. Or at least some of them. I guess. If you see a logical paradox in it, that's just your problem. Where does this condescension come from?
Why does past Madhog have to be so half-assed in his pettiness against humanity?
Because he's trying to sound deep and thoughtful. Emphasis on trying, because that's deep and philosophical, understanding that there is no one true answer.
Well, clearly he's not trying anymore. He's given up here.
Yeah.
This is the true magnum opus of nihilism. It's
Oh
it's one of the
boy.
pinnacle works.
Oh boy, I sure used to love nihilism.
Well, if you love nihilism so much, then why don't you marry it?
Well, because I don't care about anything. Duh.
There he was, this world's current enemy, aboard his hovering vehicle, with his robotic army ready to attack the city of Anti-Station Square.
Boo.
Since this dimension has evolved in its own way, nobody, especially not Void, could predict the coming of this particular individual.
Why especially not Void? That's the question.
Just continue, I'm loading my gun because I have shots to fire.
No one knew from where he came from. Was he the result of Void's nightmares over a certain rotund dictator he used to know in his own dimension?
I don't think he had a single interaction with Eggman ever.
Or did he just came from another world? Whatever the answer may be, the only thing that mattered was that he was real, just like any other, and his robots were too. He was an egg-shaped human who wore a black golden button uniform. futuristic spectacles on his eyes and goggles, on his clearly bald head. He also had a big pointed nose and thick, long grey mustaches. Grey mustaches?
Yes, mustache on top of more mustache.
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 Mustache. Mustache.
He was an egg-shaped Oh wait, sorry, I was starting over. Just like Metal Gear Solid. Anyway, and his name was Eggman.
John Cena! Da, da, da. Sorry.
Eggman-Nega. I mean Eggman-Nega.
Eggman-Nega. I know this is a real character from a real game, but couldn't you take the Nega part of his name and put it afore Eggman?
Yeah, no.
So it reads Nega Eggman? Nega Eggman would sound much better than Eggman-Nega. That's such a mouthful.
Is this some kind of a slight hint that this Eggman-Nega is not actually from this dream dimension, but from another one? Because if he was from this dream dimension, he'd be called Nega Eggman instead of Eggman-Nega, which means that the dimension he came from was mirror universe for these Void's thoughts.
No, Eggman-Nega is literally a character from a real Sonic video game on the Nintendo DS.
Yeah, the Sonic Rush series of games.
Yes. And also Sonic Rush Adventure, don't forget that one.
Uh-huh. How ironic things can be, isn't it? Right in front of his smirking form stood his opponents. The only three obstacles between him and the creation of his empire, the anti-freedom fighters, were ready for him.
Hold on, if they are anti-freedom fighters, doesn't that make them fascist fighters?
They are not anti-freedom fighters, they are anti, who are also freedom fighters.
I'm not following you.
Welcome to reading this fic.
Fair enough.
Also, I'd like to point out that the greatest military machine in this world that was imagined by a god is a boy band.
You know what? You are reminding me of that one episode from Sonic Boom in which Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails do make a boy band, and it's hysterical. Anyway.
Excuse me, God, you can unthink this guy out of existence any minute now.
Let's use the power of music instead.
Okay, so Nega Eggman's talking here first.
Snooping as usual, I see. Ha! You don't think you can stop me, do you?
He declared, not hinting his utter arrogance. The two-tailed black-haired vulpine known as Miles Prower grinned.
I thought it was anti-Miles. Oh, whatever.
Actually, we kind of think that, but...
Great remark there, Tails. 10 out of 10.
Sorry, that was Matti's line, not mine.
Yeah, I was wondering that I might Tails but you're playing the anti-Tails.
I became Tails. I became the stunt actor for Tails when you aren't present.
Now you became the therapist's voice, which turned out to be Tails, and now you're stuck with it.
Oh, all right, you are correct. Excuse me, let me try that again. Actually, we kind of think that, but...
He countered. Anti-Sonic was on the fox's right side, showing an angry gaze.
Arr, I'm angry, arr. Okay, so this is Anti-Sonic, huh? I'm going to so fucking fuck up your mondo uncool, pathetic excuse for an army and eat your flesh in the process, motherfucker!
He yelled, and meant each and every word he said.
I bet!
This fic just got salvaged.
Okay, honestly, if this was the entire fanfiction, this would have been so much better. I wish it were.
My, relax, my main hedgehog. We're all civilized people after all.
It's funny because Knuckles, as we know him in this saga, was a bit potty-mouthed, and now he's polite. Isn't that hilarious?
Anti-Knuckles added in a rather kind British accent.
Oh boy!
It is pretty funny.
not as funny as what follows now. Fuck civilization! I want violence!
Oh, I see. So you're Vivian from the Young Ones' way of living. Okay.
Violence! Yeah!
I guess we found who likes to play India in Civilization.
The anti-hedgehog.
Okay.
You need a moment, Madhog?
No, I'm fine.
The anti-hedgehog replied. Both Auntie Knuckles and Miles just sighed. Again, how ironic things can be. They definitely were their original's counterparts. Eggman-Nega, however,
I will crush you, insolent pests!
was just the same as the other fat idiot used to be. A comic book villain. Even worse, a rip-off of a comic book villain.
But I thought no one here was another one's rip-off, or whatever it is you said earlier.
One man's rip-off is another man's treasure.
Actually, one man's rip-off is another man's label suit. You can't win!
He kept yelling.
Yes,
Yes, we can, motherfucker!
And their collective answer, the voice of an entire nation.
So literally everyone in Mobius or anti-Mobius or whatever just comes out of their windows and yells, yes, we can! And then Eggman-Nega, no, you can't! Yes, we can! No!
The robot attacked, and one by one, they were all crushed.
Fuck robots!
I guess Void's imagination trumps the bots.
Let's not think too hard about this. We're having fun.
Okay. They fell under Miles's tail's lashes and aerial kicks. They fell under Anti-Knuckles' huge fists. Hiya! My shooter. They fell
So
under
polite.
Anti-Sonic's will to destroy.
Yeah! Violence, baby!
How could they do that? How could they oppose an army for full-armed, heavy-armored, metallic soldiers like that? How could they possibly be that strong? Even against Metal Gear, it was impossible. Logically speaking.
It's chaos, baby.
Fuck chaos!
After a while, the senseless massacre of innocent, mindless robotic slaves, Eggman-Nega was able to catch the drift and hastily retried from the battlefield.
Maybe. Okay, Eggman, this is game over. Do you want to try again? Insert quarter into the coin slot.
Retried from the battlefield with his own Eggmobile, uttering threats of revenge towards his adversaries in the process.
Oh, come on, Eggman-Nega. Don't be such a sore loser. You'll do better in the
jerk.
next game of Civilization.
The jerk.
So, I like this. One sentence, you have the narrator really bringing up the menace of the robots, that they should not be defeated so easily. And then literally the next sentence, oh well, senseless, innocent, mindless robotic slaves. Done.
I mean, I do appreciate these fixed attempts at comedy.
I mean, this has been the most entertaining and actually funny part of this entire spin-off.
Fuck civilization! I want violence! Is now etched into my mind forever. It's great.
I got that on a t-shirt.
Fuck civilization, I want civilizance!
Fuck civilization! Tropico is better!
Well, it seems we've won, old chaps. The anti-echidna politely stated.
Fuck yeah! Anti-Mobius! Fuck yeah! Coming down, save the motherfucking day!
Battle cried the anti-hedgehog.
Oh.
Hey, dudes, how about our reward, if you know what I'm saying?
Tails, do you want to have sex with the boys? I mean, good for you.
Playing
Rose
with the
before
boys.
hose, right? Said the heroic Anti-Kitsune, while showing the others his personal self-made bog.
Tails! There is a time and place for it! Sonic is looking at Tails' personal self-made bong and goes, "Fuck yeah!
Cowabunga!
Fuck yeah! I want that bong!"
The other two yelled at unison, apparently.
Cowabunga, motherfuckers!
On the distance, the world's god observed the three of them with a hint of amusement on his face.
He's eating popcorn, I bet.
Even though they were so different from his memories, they were still the heroes he thought of them to be. Certain things never change, no matter the timelines or spaces.
So, hold on. Let us zoom out of this a little bit and just look at the bigger picture here. These are alternative universe versions of Tails, Sonic, and Knuckles, which appear to be legitimately much more fun and entertaining than ever before. On top of that, they don't just fight crime or evil. On top of that, they are also in a band together. I would legitimately read this comic. I wish this was real. I wish this was the story, not whatever it is that's surrounding this one spotlight, this one light into the darkness.
This has very little to do what was previously established.
This whole thing kind of gives me Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle vibes for some reason.
But I can get behind this reboot of Sonic Underground.
Sonic Underground. Fuck yeah!
Sonic Underground!
I definitely would have a copy of their platinum album, Fuck Civilization. I want violence.
That was the further confirmation of what he already knew. He wasn't needed anymore. This world didn't need a god. This world was on its own. It had its problems, but it also had its problem solvers.
Sure.
Idealistically speaking, it was all in the hands of this chaotic balance. The endless possibilities of life. This
is my escape. This
totally sounds like a Kojima dialogue if I've ever heard one.
And this possibility.
Life always finds a way.
The same chaos he was a part of, the same chaos his being was made of, the unbalanced balance that made him a whole being who could feel and dream, just as anyone else.
It's your favorite line, Devar, the unbalanced balance.
The oxymoron.
And then Sonic comes in, fuck balance, I want violence!
Yes, and he intentionally puts vi instead of ba, so that it becomes violence.
I don't get it.
Violence, balance, it sounds similar, so you put the violence.
Just let it go.
Oh, come on, it was funny!
No, I'm sorry, you just killed the mood right now.
The problem wasn't the joke itself, it was the timing. Because we have just experienced probably the only funny part of this fix, so...
Well, I would argue that the problem was also the joke itself.
Anyway.
Yeah, but we know your sense of humor.
Anyway, where was I now?
It's been a while now.
It's been a while now since he first had this idea. The idea of just leaving this dimension and coming back home. Being a deadbeat dad, you know.
But isn't your home that dimension since you created it all with the graveyard and your wife in crystal and everything? Wait, where are we?
His own homeworld. his own people, his own family, returning to his father, to his mother, along with the light of his life, his daughter, Lumina. He sighed. He knew it would be hard for her to just abandon all of her friends, not to mention her mother, but Void knew in the very bottom of his would-be-filled emptiness that he was the right thing to do for her.
That was the right thing to do. I guess he is the right thing to do for her now.
What's with the Freudian slip, Devar?
Okay.
Give me a break, I'm tired, okay?
So, Void, I hate to question your methods, but what would be the logistic behind bringing your daughter with you into the real world when she is part of the dream that you created? How would you even go about it? This isn't like taking the girls from Townsville to Citiesville and back to Townsville again.
He just needs to think about it.
He has done nothing but thinking!
Yeah, and that created an entire world that can now self-perpetuate, continue on its own.
Yes, I guess. But what
In
would...
fact, why don't he just bring the entire world that he created into the real world?
Overpopulation?
Okay. In order to protect her from herself, Void gave one last look at the three heroes not so distant from where he was at the moment, and smiled.
Yes, they were all smoking Tails' self-made bong as we speak. It's all up to you now. Protect this bong, I mean protect this world. Oh, chosen by chaos.
And then he just disappeared. And then it started raining again. And then Snake interjects with, "Well, that's all well and good, Colonel, but how does this help me against the Metal Gear?"
I mean, you just heard Antisonic say, "Fuck robots."
Oh, kids, fuck civilization! I want violence! And the show is cancelled.
Was this chapter supposed to be symbolism for when author has created a story, they can let it live its own life when it's continued by fanfic writers or something?
Well, funny you should say that, because that's almost what happens with my fictional universe and other writers who decided to draw inspiration from it. So I believe it is fair to say that last chapter really knocked the wind out of us in all the best possible ways. It almost feels as if it's a completely different fanfiction from those initial 3 chapters we had the misfortune to endure. I'm counting the first 3 chapters from the last session. Already the 4th chapter felt a little bit different with the therapeutic segment. And then chapter 5 just really knocked it out of the park, even if by accident.
Yeah.
So I, for one, am glad that we continued reading this, because you never know what kind of inanity and or insanity you might fumble upon as you go through my fanfiction backlog. Unfortunately, we have to call it a night because of the aforementioned wind knocking that we all experienced, and it's getting quite late. So we will finish up this story with its 6th and final chapter on the next iteration of Dramatis Lectio. Once again, with feeling, thank you for joining us. I have been Madhog, thy master.
I've been Devakron.
Hedonistic actor.
And I've been Icipal.
And I'm Antisonic! Fuck civilization!
I think you need some therapy, Antisonic.
I say, I think we could just do it a nice sit down, don't you think?
Hey, Tails, pass me that bong! Cowabunga!
Don't worry, guys. I have bongs for days.
I feel bonged up already.
Somebody needs to put us out of our misery. So, good night, everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
And remember, Sonic says, fuck the police.